All right, good morning everybody and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today is Sunday and we are going to be reading some Breslov history and traditions and stories as we've been reading on every Sunday for the last few months from a sefer called Siach Sarfei Kodesh, which is a Breslov sefer. We are in Chelik Beis and we've been learning the sefer for the last few months already. And we are up to stories about Rav Noson and history about Rav Noson and different things like that. So, Rav Noson is the main student of Rabbi Nachman, and he carried on the chassidus after Rabbi Nachman died, basically. He wasn't the Rebbe, but he was like the main guy, I guess. Anyways, we've been reading stories, so let us keep on going. So it says that when Rav Noson was in the city of Lemberg, one of the chassidim, Rav Uri of Strelisk, kissed him on his foot, and he asked him, he said, "You're the one who made the sefer Likutei Tfilos?" Because he loved that sefer so much, so he kissed Rav Noson's feet. V'az miroiv ha'vasim limornat, the chassidim of Rav Uri of Strelisk liked Rav Noson a lot, so they escorted him out of the city when he was leaving the city. And Rav Noson said to them on the way out, the Torah Haner B'Laila, which is in Likutei Moran Siman Nun Beis, lesson 52, which is about doing his spoidus at night. V'nichnasu advarim kol kach b'leiv hanoshim, right? And the words that he spoke then entered into people's hearts so much that even for a few years after, when Rabbi Nachman of Turin was there, he still found that the chassidim there in that city were doing his spoidus and following the words of that Torah. Right, because he met the chassidim of Rav Uri of Strelisk, and they also were mekabelim with love and everything like that. And hold on one second. Sorry, I always get lost in all these things over here. So one time, Rav Noson also met the chassidim. Espal mehem ma'oid. Because usually, that's what he's saying. Because he's saying that the chassidim there loved him so much but in other parts of Ukraine and Russia, the people were very against the Breslov chassidim, right? So Rav Noson said that if we would have had these types of chassidim by where I am, and we would be able to sit and talk about Avodas Hashem, and we wouldn't have any machlokes, right? Because he didn't have any machlokes with the chassidim of the Strelisker, but he had machlokes with other chassidim. So he was kind of saying, I wish we had this in all places in the world. But anyway, they basically held him very high, and they learned Likutei Tfilos. They said Likutei Tfilos and did a spoidus and everything like that. Okay. And according to the same thing, again about the different chassidim of the Strelisker, they said to him also, Rav Noson, that if Rav Uri of Strelisk was alive, right, he himself would go out to greet you when you came to the city. That's how much they thought that Rav Noson was great. Okay. So now we have another story. It says here, Rabbi Hirschleib, who was the Rav of Breslov, who was the son of Rabbi Aaron of Breslov, who was also the Rav of Breslov, V'aviv shel Rav Turin, right? He didn't have any kids the first few years after he got married. And he said to his wife that if we pass 10 years and we don't have children, then we're gonna get divorced, like it says in Halacha. So she went to Rav Noson, and she told Rav Noson what her husband said, and she asked Rav Noson what's going on over here, and Rav Noson did not answer at all. And afterwards, when it came to the 10th year, the Rav said that if this year passes and we don't have a child, then I'm gonna have to leave you and divorce you. So she went back to Rav Noson, crying, and asked him that he should bless her with children. And Rav Noson calmed her down and he said, "Don't worry, he's not going to divorce you. He's not going to divorce you." V'kachava, that she had a child. She was nifkada with Zer Shachayama, and the Rav of Turin, V'yolda es Harav Miturin. This was the Rav of Turin. That this was the child, was the Rav of Turin. V'achach as Achiv Rabbi Chaim Harav mi Breslov. So, Rav Uri of Breslov's son, Rav Hirsch Leib, was the father of the Rav of Turin, and also the father of Rav Chaim, who was also the Rav of Breslov. So it was a family of Ravs in the city of Breslov, also Breslov chassidim. Rav Yitzchak, who was the son of Rav Noson of Breslov, he asked his father a lot of questions, right? So he asked his father that the Paritz, whatever, the guy who's in charge of the city over there, wherever he was, he gave him 3 options for jobs. Either to be in charge of the post office, either to be in charge of the of the flour mill, or to be in charge of the chopping of the wood in the forest. Those were 3 jobs that he advised Rav Noson to get this parts. So Rav Yitzchak asked his father what he should do, and Rav Noson told him to be in charge of the post office, right? Even though that Rav Noson did not want him to makabel any avodah, because he wanted his son to only sit in Torah and avodas Hashem, but Rav Yitzchak did not ask him that if he should either go out to work or not. He's like, I'm ready going out to work, but which work should I, take? So he said to take the post office job, right? He basically answered in the way that he asked, because that's the minhag of the Anash of Breslov, is not to do dafka this. I'm saying he asked him about what job should I take. So instead of him answering, oh, you shouldn't take any job at all, you should only be sitting on Torah and Tefillah, no, he answered him in the way that I want to go work. Now, which job should I go take? Because the minhag of Anash was not to answer someone, you have to dafka do this. So he said, okay, go work, but take this job instead. One time after the chassidim on Rosh Hashanah finished the tefillas of Ma'ariv, and they had such great hasiris, this was after Rabbi Nachman died. I think Rav Noson said to them, this was after Rabbi Nachman died, because Rav Noson said to them, I believe that Rabbeinu is here with us. And when Rabbeinu is here, then all the 7 shepherds are with us, Moshe and everyone like that. And he says, I believe in it just like I see this. That's how much I believe in it. And when he said these last words, he said them with such feeling that the chassidim really felt that it was mamish true that he saw the 7 shepherds there, that he saw Rabbeinu there. That's pretty wild. Okay, after Rav Noson printed the Likutei Tfilos, the chassidim said to Rav Noson, he said, you are the person who should be the Baal Tefillah, right? That's the story of the Baal Tefillah, literally the master of prayer, who helps people come back to Hashem, like a tzaddik, whatever. So they were saying to Rav Noson, after they saw the sefer that he printed, that he is right to be the Baal Tefillah. And Rav Noson said, the Baal Tefillah is Rabbi Nachman. But he says, but however, I am from the Anshe HaMelech, from the men of the king, Hareini HaMelitz. He said, if I'm going to be somebody from the story, then I'm going to be the Melitz. The person in the story, there was all these different people of the king, and one of the people of the king was the Baal Tefillah, and one of them was the Melitz. He was able to say certain ways of working out words and different things like that, and different praises and all these different things, because Rav Noson said that I am able to be milamid zchus on a person that was over the Torah 800 times, the whole entire Torah. And Rav Noson says I could still be down the chafzchus on him. So that's pretty crazy. Rav Nachman of Tulchin said over, at one time he went with Rav Noson, and Rav Noson was davening shachris in the wagon, but he wasn't able to be mislive so much in his tefillah like he usually is, right? And Rav Nachman of Turin saw how hard Rav Noson was trying in his tefillah to do this. And when he came to the words "V'hoidu l'zecher kodshoy islav ma'oid," he was like very into it. We have to thank Hashem even for the little bit of kedusha, l'zecher ma'at kedusha, even just to remember a little of the kedusha that we have, right? Kach siper Rav Bar Nachman, who heard this story from his father, Rav Nachman of Turin. And yeah, so that's he's saying, that even if we're not doing the best, but even just to remember a little bit of the kedusha that we still have, so that's also a very big asayris for people. And one time Rav Noson, another story on a wagon. One time Rav Noson was davening on a wagon, and when he came afterwards to the kretschmer, to the hotel, to the guest house, whatever, the Bala Gola, the wagon driver, said to the hotel guy, "Today I traveled with a Jew who davened with such hislavas that not only did I cry, but also the horses cried." That's crazy. All right, what time? How much do we do? Okay, I think we could do 2 more pages over here. One time when Rav Yitzchak was by his father, Rav Noson in Breslov, he lost a great amount of money that was shaykh to the post office. Like we mentioned before, that he worked for the post office, and one time he lost a great amount of money that belonged to the post office in Tulchin, right? That's where he lived. He lived in Tulchin. And he was very sad. And Rav Noson was also a little bit stressed out about this. And they were searching everywhere. Until Rabbi Nachman Tulchiner, who was very calm, went to the place where they throw the garbage, and he took apart every single piece until he found the money. He went through all the garbage, and when he brought it back, Rav Noson was extremely happy, and his son was also very happy. Okay, let's do like 3 more pieces here. Said when Rav Noson came to Eretz Yisrael, when he was traveling to Eretz Yisrael, Derech Odessa, through the city of Odessa is where the boats were. He went on the boats there, like it says in the Sefer Yimem or not. He visited the Rav of the city, who was called Rabbi Ruvela Odessa. Right, he was very big tzaddik. And they were friends from their youth, from when they grew up together. So when Rav Noson met him, the Rav said to him, he said, "I heard that you became a chassid." He said, "Do you still know how to learn?" And Rav Noson said, "Yes, for sure." So the Rav says, this Rav said to Rav Noson, he said, "I'm having a very hard time with this question in this Taz in Hilchus Tchumen. I don't understand what it is." And he asked Rav Noson the question, and Rav Noson went and he went into a closed room for a short amount of time. And when he left, and when he came out of the room, he answered the question. And the Rav was Nispoil Ma'oid, and he said to Rav Noson, he said, "If I had money, I would print this parish of this question that you just said in Oisiyah Shel Zav, in golden letters." After Rav Noson printed the Sefer Likutei Moharan, Rav Noson sold the luchos hadfasa, the plates that they did with back then, like the metal plates with the printing plates, whatever. He sold those plates to the printer. I don't know why. Okay. V'noson loy hamatvis, and the printer gave him in exchange different svarim of shalos and shuvas, right? And Rav Noson took these svarim and put them inside the shul to sell them in Uman, together with Sifrei Rabbi Nachman. And at the time that he was selling stuff, he would sit there and talk in Avodas Hashem, right? And he didn't care if people were listening or not. He just spoke, right? And there was people who were laughing in front of him, making fun of him, right? And among them was this guy Rabbi Oizer, who used to make fun of Rav Noson when he used to say Torahs over there, whatever. But he came close to Breslov, and he came close to Rav Noson, because one time he actually listened to what he was saying. and he was nislive and nisor ma'oid until he fell down to Rav Noson's feet. And he said, "What is?" And he asked Rav Noson. He said, "What's the tshuva on somebody who spoke about a Talmud Chacham who is already dead?" And his kavanah was on Rabbi Nachman, that this guy Rav Oizer spoke bad about Rabbi Nachman, and now he wanted to do tshuva. So he asked. So Rav Noson said, the din is explained in Shulchan Aruch in Yardea that he has to take 10 men and go barefoot to the kever and to ask mechila. And Rabbi Oizer did this, and then from then he was very niskasher to Rav Noson, and he became like his Talmud Muvuk. And he also brought other people closer to Rabbi Nachman. All right, I think that is good for today. I hope you enjoyed a little bit of Breslov Sipurim and stuff like that. And Tuesday, hopefully, we'll be back with another video on some stories. Maybe we'll start reading some Hanukkah stories. Anyway, everyone should have a great week.